Hey guys, Arts here, and today I'm gonna be bringing an updated version of the Malt Next deck I posted here on DM Redux a while ago. At its base, the core of the deck hasn't changed at all. The things that make the deck work have changed drastically, and I think overall it performs much better than it used to. So let's go ahead and dive not into 4 Civilization Malt, but 5 Civilization Malt. That's right. As weird as it sounds, I found that making the deck 5 Civilization has made it work a lot more consistently. So, yeah, more civs equals more consistency? I don't know, but yeah. To start things off, you're on 1 copy of the Kingdom X. Obviously, this remains the same from my previous deck, because he is just an unsealable defense option that works very well with Bullshack the Garrigon, and that's really his only purpose. We don't try to actively unseal him unless we desperately need to. And yeah, in the cases where we do end up unsealing him though, it's usually a defensive reason, and for that, he works pretty well. Next up, we have 4 copies of Super Battle Dragon Edge Malt. Next. Nothing much to say, he's our main finisher of the deck. He pops out and either puts out Battle Fortress form, Heartburn, or Bottle Guy Heart, and just wins. It's not hard to get him out, especially the number of options this deck has to cheat him out. So, yeah, pretty good finisher. And also the name of this deck. To help him out, I run 4 copies of Final Dragon Edge Glenmalt, which serves the same purpose, except he can't bring out Heartburn, but honestly, we seldom ever go into Heartburn nowadays, given that spamming dragons just turns out to be much better. So yeah, and he's also a lot harder to remove. 4 copies of Lightning Dragon Varivarius. Speed Attacker, Scramble Change on Wheels, can be played on 5 mana, gets out either Final Dragon Edge Glenmalt, or Malt Next. Pretty good card. Also gives Shield Edition or Sealed Peak. Or Top Deck Peak. Next up, 4 copies of Roaring Revolution Red Gear Zone. Very good card. I don't think I need to explain why this card is good. He gives Speed Attacker to all your commands. He rev changes off any command. Final Revolution, he untaps all your creatures, so just get Final Rev off either of these guys and kind of win the game. Mark Fighter and Speed Attacker lets him take care of weenie threats like Onikamas, Pork Chin Chin, Mixel, and even Primal Giant. So, pretty good card, honestly. I really think he's one of the better additions that DMEX12 brought to the deck, and I'm very happy I finally have a playset of him. Next up, another addition from DMEX12, 3 copies of Olger, the one dyed in Crimson. Simple effect, whenever he's Speed Attacker, Double Breaker, whenever he attacks, play Gachinko Judge. If you win, you can pick the top 3 cards of your deck and play a dragon for no cost among them. So it's just more dragon spam, and you should notice that all of the cards I'm gonna be putting out, except for I think one of them, is gonna be cost 8 or less. That's gonna be very important later on, but for now, let's leave it as is. His spell site is Crimson Victory, a shield trigger that just does a board wipe of 2000 power or less, which handles Onikamas, Mixel, and those annoying for no cost creatures. Except Primal Giant, because Primal Giant is bullshit, but I digress. Next up, I played 2 copies of Nicol Bolas, because Nicol Bolas is Nicol Bolas. It's mass discard, destruction upon attacking. It's Bolas. It's Nicol Bolas. I really don't think I need to say more than that. Next up, I run 2 copies of Code King Mozart. He used to be a different card in an earlier version of this deck, but I changed him back to Mozart when I've started filling around stuff, and he's just a defensive option that field wipes. Yeah, that's about it. We don't really try to pull in all too often, but when you do, it feels pretty good. Next up, we run 4 copies of Bullshack the Garrigon. Yeah, it's Bulldoggy, it's nothing much to say. Bulldoggy works especially well if you pull a Mozart, and yeah, he works really well with Dual Kingdom as well, and that's really the only reason why we play him. But the main thing with Bulldoggy now is that, as compared to earlier builds of this deck, he is far more consistently able to not whiff, and that's due to the change of my ramp. I no longer run Mendelssohn, Dual Charger, or Call for Dragons, or Fairy Miracle for that matter. Instead, in one of their slots, I run 4 copies of Bolshak Glory Lupia. Now this card is genuinely stupid. This card power creeps Call for Dragons, and I love it. It's a 3 mana Fire Nature, Firebird, Armored Dragon. That's right, this thing is the cheapest Armored Dragon ever printed, I think now. And its effect is the exact same as Call for Dragons. You may put the top deck of your card into your mana zone tapped, and if it's a dragon, you may put another card from the top of your deck into your mana zone tapped. It's just Call for Dragons on wheels, and it's a dragon. It's great. I love it. I love it so much, and was the main reason why I was waiting so long for the Bolshak deck to come out before making this update. Next up, here's the card I replaced Mendelssohn with. I run 4 copies of Neo Bolshak Dragon / Bolshak Sun. Now, Neo Bolshak Dragon is just a quality vanilla with power attack of 4000 and triple breaker, but Bolshak Sun is a 2-mana nature spell that just states put the top card of your deck into your mana zone. So it's not really a Mendelssohn replacement as it is Fairy Life, but the key thing is it's part dragon. This is the reason why I run it over Mendelssohn, and this side just makes Bulldoggy so much more consistent, and it's not even funny. And the reason for why almost every dragon in the deck is cost 8 or less is because I run 4 copies of Jackpot Entry, Dragon Secret Formation. Jackpot Entry is, for those of you who don't know, is a 6 mana fire spell that states when you cast this spell, for each dragon in your mana zone, you may check that number of cards from the top of your deck, and from among them, play 1 dragon that costs 8 or less for free. I don't think I need to explain why having Glory Lupia and Neo Bolshak Dragon in place of Mendelssohn and Call for Dragons helps this out a lot. Nor do I think I need to explain why having everything else be cost 8 or less be a necessity for the deck. Lastly, I'm gonna go through my Hyperspatial Zone, which all in all I don't think it's changed all too much. We run 1 copy of Batarai for Dragon Fortress shenanigans, which we don't really go into all too often though. 1 copy of Heartburn, Guy Next, because in case we ever reach a situation where we have to one-shot the opponent, we can. 1 copy of Batugai Heart. No, 3 copies of Batugai Heart, Batugai Genga. Pretty self-explanatory card. This is the main guy that's going to be cheating out all of our dragons, and he gives Speed Attacker as well. I only run 1 copy of Guileburn this time around. I found through extensive testing I seldom ever go into my 2nd copy of Guileburn, so now I just run 1. Yeah, nothing much to say. What has changed though is I bumped up the ratio of Final the End or Beginning Star Initiative of Dragon 2 to 2. The main reason for this is that given that a good number of cards in the deck aren't actually commands, be it because they're Nicobolus, Ogre, Glory Lupia, Neo Bolshak, and Vivarius, I wanted to increase the odds of unsealing Dokendom. So if we pull a Molt Next or realistically, if we just pull Molt Next from Bolshak the Girgon, we can pop one of these guys out and unseal 3 seals at once, and it actually makes the unsealing process a lot quicker than one would think. Now I'm going to talk about a few changes that this deck went through, and a few changes I can recommend. First things first, if you want to... if I'm going to be talking about the changes that I made only recently with the release of the Bolshak deck. First things first, I dropped Mendelssohn for Neo Bolshak Dragon, but honestly, you could fully run Mendelssohn in this slot and suffer none of the losses. It's just I would prefer to have a more consistent Bolshak the Girgon, and run this guy. So next, previously I ran Pujo Henza in place of Code King Mozart. While Pujo Henza was like a really stupid good option because cost 8, he can come out from a Jackpot entry, makes everything come into tapped, also has a board wiping Final Revolution and can rev change off Red Garizone, Final Dragonage, and Varvarius, which was actually came in really clutch a few times, but generally because of him, I ended up running too many multis and I ended up breaking on the turn which I should normally be able to play Jackpot on. So I decided to cut him, and that's that. Lastly, the last card I can recommend you may give a shot would be World Evil Dragonkind, Dead Brachio. Dead Brachio was a lifesaver in a sense. Ever since I stopped playing Shishio Kaiser, he has been my go-to shield trigger, and was what used to be in place of Bullshit Biragon. However, and his effect of preventing drag solution is also very nice. But in general, I found that whenever I got him in hand, it was already too late. And he doesn't really stop rush either, because unlike Bulldogi, but yeah, because he requires at least 5 cards of mana for him to become a shield trigger, but yeah. So I can recommend him because the deck at its heart is still 5 colors with water, dark, light, nature, and fire, all in the deck at pretty good ratios, if I do have to say. Yeah, it's just something to consider, but I won't really say much about it. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I really like the way I have changed the deck, and until some fancy new cards come out, I really don't think I'll be making any more changes to this deck than I already have. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, because this deck, as I've mentioned multiple times, is based around my favorite creature in the game, Molt Next. And yeah, I'm just gonna end it off here. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, and hopefully if we find a time, we can end up recording some in-life duels, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. But if we do, you'll be able to see this deck in action. Alright, peace.